There's a reason they don't tell you who your bloodline really comes from. That sentence may sound like science fiction, but once you dive deep into the world of DNA testing, ancestry services, and royal genealogy, you'll realize this isn't paranoia. It's a carefully managed illusion. For years, people have been obsessed with discovering their roots. DNA testing services like 23andMe, Ancestry DNA, and MyHeritage have promised just that. Spit in a tube, mail it in, and discover the truth about who you are. The idea is intoxicating. Who wouldn't want to find out they're part Viking, part Mongol, or even descended from a king? And millions have tried. They open their results and see a pie chart: 25% Italian, 40% Northern European, 15% Balkan, 2% Neanderthal, a neat, digestible version of their heritage. But here's the catch. You never get to see everything. What if your results were filtered? What if certain lineages, especially ones tied to power, were deliberately excluded? Think about it. How often do you hear someone say, "I found out I'm related to Genghis Khan. I traced my line back to Charlemagne. I'm descended from Ramses too"? Rarely, and when you do, it's either dismissed or ridiculed. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Too many people might actually be descended from royalty. Let that sink in. If hundreds of millions of people have distant royal blood, then the modern myth of "we are all peasants" falls apart. Power isn't supposed to be common. It's supposed to be elite. Let's talk facts. A 2003 genetic study revealed that around 16 million men alive today carry a Y chromosome haplotype linked to a single male ancestor in Mongolia, likely Genghis Khan. Let me repeat that. 16 million. One warlord, through conquest, spread his blood across Asia and beyond. But how many people actually know they're connected to him? Very few. Because DNA companies don't tell you that. Why? Because it would collapse the hierarchy of history. Because it would make you question what being special even means. Let's be honest, these ancestry companies are tech corporations. Their main concern is user retention, profit, and compliance with privacy laws, not historical accuracy. They rely on limited reference data sets, biased genetic markers, and questionable assumptions. Your DNA is often compared against modern populations, not ancient ones. Which means, even if you carry royal blood, your results might just say 60% British Isles. That's not a lie. But it's not the truth either. It's a version of the truth. One that's been sanitized, and in that version, you're nobody, just another average person, one of the billions. Now, let's get darker. Some theorists believe that ancestry companies have deliberate policies to suppress royal lineage findings, because if millions discover they're connected to monarchs, emperors, and conquerors, it would destroy the narrative of exclusivity. The idea that certain bloodlines are elite, it would undermine the very fabric of institutional history. If everyone is royal, then no one is. So instead of highlighting those connections, the companies bury them in vague ethnic percentages. You're 3% Central Asian. Congratulations, that's probably Mongol blood. But they won't say that, because saying you are descended from Genghis Khan is too powerful, too dangerous. Want proof? Some users who uploaded their raw DNA to third-party tools like GEDmatch or Wifo discovered shocking results. Matches to ancient remains, connections to royal burial sites, shared haplogroups with long-dead kings. But here's the twist. When they contacted commercial testing companies about it, they were met with silence, or worse, accounts flagged, data removed, or warnings issued. Sound familiar? That's not science. That's information control. So why would they erase your connection to history? The answer is control. Controlling your identity. Controlling your narrative. Controlling what you believe about yourself. Because history isn't just about the past. It's about power in the present. If you believe you come from royalty, you walk differently. You question more. You expect more. But if you believe you're a descendant of nobodies, you accept your place, you obey. Here's a chilling comparison. We know the Vatican has locked away historical records for centuries. Scrolls, letters, archives, hidden from the public eye. What if the genetic archives are no different? What if your DNA is being stored, categorized, and hidden not to protect you, but to protect them? What if there's a genetic Vatican, one that decides who gets to know their past, and who stays in the dark? The truth is, bloodlines matter more today than ever before. Powerful families don't fade, they adapt. They use wealth, tech, marriage, and politics to survive, and they don't want competition. So if some low-income kid in Ohio finds out he's a direct descendant of European kings, that's a problem. If a single mother in Manila learns she carries the blood of Persian nobility, that's inconvenient. So the data gets lost, misclassified, erased. So here's the truth. You may never know who you truly are. Your bloodline may have been rewritten, your ancestry may have been simplified, and the version of you that exists online in a DNA report might be nothing but a sanitized lie. But here's the question. Are you going to accept the story they sold you? Or will you start asking questions? Don't stop at a pie chart. Don't stop at percentages. Dig deeper. Demand more. And remember, the history they gave you is not the full story. It's the story that keeps you powerless. Because once you realize where you really come from, you might stop following kings and start acting like one. Follow 4 more dark truths hidden in plain sight. What if you're the lost heir they hoped would never wake up? Subscribe to Dynasty Decoded for full story drops every week.